Welcome, friends, it's the MovieFilm Podcast. MovieFilm Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about the movies. MovieFilm Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to MovieFilm. This is episode 259. I am Zachy Hassan, and Brian Hall, is that you?
It is. I'm alive.
I can't even begin to tell you, and I'm very grateful for all the messages I've received from people who are like, hey, what's going on, you guys? Have you broken up?
No, yeah, you forwarded me a few of those, and I was so appreciative and also felt bad. It was like one of the few times I had wished I was on Twitter so I could be like, I'm here, and thank you for even thinking of me. Yeah, no, well, as we knew, we had an episode, and then I was traveling to New York for Thanksgiving, and we were going to miss that like holiday week, and then we were supposed to record the next week, but I ended up getting really sick, and so we missed that week. We missed pretty much all of this week,
Yeah.
And it was crazy. I wasn't sure what it was. I tested negative for COVID, and so I just assumed it was some sort of flu, and it started with this pummeling headache. I mean, just nonstop 24/7 headache where I just was closing my eyes, just trying to be asleep all day, and it turned into a cough. And I was like, okay, all right, riding through this thing. And then as that was clearing up, it turned into this sore throat that like turned into like a real sore inner ear sort of issue. And it was like, it just, when it rains, it pours. And so eventually on Thursday, I went to urgent care, like just to see if there was any sort of infection thing going on, or like, what is this? Do I actually need medicine? And turns out it's just the flu. But it was consuming for sure this week. This is like truly like the most energy I've exerted in a while, just speaking to you like this.
So you little leaguers, get your flu shots. I guess that's the
oh my goodness, dude. I'm like, I went out and got all the vaccines and all those sorts of things. But this year I did not get my COVID booster yet, which I should have right before I traveled. And I did not get my flu shot. And I am so kicking myself. Federica did. And she feels she got something, but it was like half of what I had, or if that. She just got really tired. Like it resembled a little bit of what I had, but nothing the same. And I was like, oh, if I could go back in time.
Well, through this entire saga, I, being the courteous and caring friend, have mostly been texting you, hey, can we record yet?
Well, no, I'm glad, because you kind of can't see me over here either, where I'm just like, like face down in a pillow, like, who are you? Send help. But no, I've definitely been missing it, and I've seen like a ton of things, and like so much is happening in entertainment news. I was like, oh, we're just like the episode. I could just picture our document getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I knew we were going to have so much to discuss and chew on this week. So I'm excited.
Quite a few things to discuss. Got a handful of listener letters as well. But before we do that, before we even get into the list, I want to talk about Andor with you. Yeah.
That, man, when did that wrap? Was that during Thanksgiving week?
Yes, it was the week of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, man, that was really good, and I know it's played differently for people, and I completely get it. I really do. Like, I wouldn't begrudge anyone for having a hard time getting into it, but especially with it over now, I almost can see its rhythm a little bit. It's sort of moved in these like 3 episode rhythms.
That's right.
And I admitted on the show that after the first 3, I was like, yeah. And then I missed a week, and I wasn't sure I even missed the show. I was like, of course I'm going to get to it, but I wasn't thinking about it. But then once I got into its groove, I just, especially, once they get to the prison thing, I won't get into too much spoilers, I guess, details, but I really looked forward to going back every week. And when it was all said and done, I was like, I'm ready. Season 2, let's go. So yeah, you.
Well, I mean, I said this to you way back in early August because I saw the first 4 episodes,
Right.
and I said to you, I think this might be my favorite thing that Disney has done as far as the on the Disney Plus side. And so I had to hold my tongue for like whatever it was, like a month,
Right.
until people finally started watching it. But that's been really fun for me. Is gradually as the show's progressed, it feels like people are kind of coming around and figuring out, oh, this thing is really special.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been fun because apparently this is, and I said this to you way back then. I said it. I think it's going to be the least watched.
You did. Yeah, before it even aired. Yeah.
Yeah, and that has sort of been borne out. But I think that allows for this process of discovery, especially now that it is, you've got a full season that people can binge watch. And I think for me, what I have appreciated so much is, like, first of all, my wife went to Spokane over like just before Thanksgiving break, and so I ended up watching almost the entire season just with the boys without her. And then when she came back, I was like, "Oh, you got to watch it," because she had watched up to a point, and she's like, "I don't remember. I'm just going to watch the whole thing." And she blazed through the whole season in like 4 days, right?
Yeah, binging it I think is really going to do a lot of people good.
I think so. And I was discussing with my brother what I think is so cool about this show is the only piece of text you really need vis-a-vis context is Star Wars, is the original Star Wars.
Yeah.
To give you everything you need to really appreciate this show. I mean, obviously it helps if you've seen Rogue One, but you truly don't need to have seen Rogue One. I mean, I think this really functions in a way where it's a prequel, but not in a wink, wink, nudge, nudge way. You know what I mean?
Right.
So in the sense that I can see a scenario where you watch season 1 of this, season 2 of this, and Rogue One, and you've got your, in essence, Andor trilogy.
Yeah.
Right. But I think we talked about this before. The what I find so interesting is just the nitty gritty of how an empire works and how a
Yes.
rebellion works. And to me, having Mon Mothma in a room with a banker and being like, "I need to move money from here to there," and he's like, "I'll figure it out," and you're like, "What's going to happen to the money?"
I know.
Like, right?
I know. And her socialite husband, I just thought he was so perfect. Like, what
Yeah.
an interesting, like, oh, that's her husband, and that's sort of representative of the world that she could sort of easily exist in, but she's choosing to be this, rebel
Right.
under the table, under their noses kind of a thing. And I just thought that alone is interesting. And that's not even what they spend most of the time on,
Yeah, and that like the counterpoint there is sort of the banality of evil, right? Because like
yeah, sure.
when you think about it, like high level, you're like, well, Palpatine
Mm-hmm.
is this way because of this, that, and the other thing, because he's a Sith Lord and whatever, right? But why are the people 50 levels below him being just these effing a-holes?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's like just the paper pushers who are allowing the Empire to be awful. Like
Yeah.
that's the stuff I find so interesting, because it's different. We've never seen that.
It really does deliver on that promise that we keep citing to Rogue One into this show, which is like, yeah, the corners of the galaxy that have been unexplored. And I heard I'm sort of aping this. I was feeling this, but they articulated it so well. I really never thought about what the rebellion was before, where it was just like good guys, bad guys, Luke Skywalker. You know what I mean? And so it was like, yeah, he's kind of like part of the rebellion, but we follow him, and he, is trained to be a Jedi. But in this, it's like, man, being a part of a rebellion is hard. Like, it sucks. Like, it's a huge sacrifice. And, there's this amazing speech that Stellan Skarsgård gives.
So good, right?
Right? Like, I could say maybe 2 or 3 things in this show I would add to like my top Star Wars things ever. Like, I
Wow.
think his speech about what it's like to be a rebel, and where he's like, I share my dreams with ghosts, and like, he's like, live to become, he must become what he hates to
Right.
destroy what he hates, and it's just like, he's a shell of who he ever was when he was maybe some optimistic person thinking he could restore good to the galaxy. But like, he is also going to be one of the important tools necessary to get to Luke blowing up the Death Star, and so it's hard. It's
Well, and to that point, right? He refers to it. He's like, he's invested in a victory he knows he will never see,
yes,
and we know, big picture, that he's completely unsung,
yes,
right?
right.
A fantastic monologue by Stellan Skarsgård. The other thing oh man, I wish I could remember who said this, but somebody made a point online which I just loved. What this show, first of all, a complaint I've always had about other Star Wars stuff is that it tends to make the universe feel smaller. This is the first time you really get the sense of how big this universe is.
Yeah, sure.
And all these unconnected pieces. But somebody made this point where you watch this show and all the various things going on here in this part of the rebellion and doing this, and we need to try to get this person to help with this and all this stuff. And all these things, all these pieces are put in place when you realize big picture is just on the off chance that Han Solo will do the right thing at one point.
That is so funny. Yeah. I didn't even think of it that way.
Right? Like all these things have to happen. But if Han Solo doesn't have this one bout of conscience,
yeah. Wow.
nothing happens.
Oh, I love it. I love thinking of it. I love thinking of it that way. Oh man, but the whole prison section was so good, and
this might be some of the best acting Andy Serkis has ever done.
I think so too. It's so funny because I absolutely recognize his talent, but like, I don't know that I've ever seen him in something I've absolutely loved when he's, like himself.
Right.
And I it's not his fault. It's just maybe even just like characters he's played. But like, this character is so, what an arc. I mean, that could have been a book, that whole prison thing, right? And then I so badly want to get into where it all goes, but that, where it ultimately leads up to, oh my gosh, I think I had tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
Like, so good. Again, that was like a top moment, between him and Cassian.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So good.
So season 2 of this thing is not due till I think 2024 or something ridiculous. So
that makes sense. I mean, when you look at it, you're like, my goodness, like this is like 8 movies.
Yeah.
So,
we've got to wait. We've got to wait ahead of us.
Yeah. But I'm, you know what though? I know they're already in production, and I'm happy that it's already greenlit going, and I can't wait to see what they have in store.
And my understanding is the goal is to basically end right where Rogue One starts.
Oh, interesting.
Which sign me up.
Yep.
But what else have you seen lately, Brian?
Oh, I was just looking at their IMDb's, and I was like, we didn't even mention like the Cyril character and the Deidre character, and so like it spoils, like all these. Okay, so what have I seen? Oh, I saw. Sorry, I'm all like. I saw The Menu. Have you?
Yes. I have a screener for this one.
Okay.
I have a pile of screeners, Brian, and it's the most frustrating thing in the world because my screeners tend to arrive right when it's like end of semester time for me.
Sure.
I'm just trying to get all my grading out of the way so I can sit down. I got the Fableman sitting there. I got all this stuff, and I just haven't had a chance to get to it.
Oh, I can't wait. Well, I can't wait to talk about all those with you. But I was very not interested in this movie initially. I thought, I was like, oh, I get it. It's like cannibalism or something. You know what I mean? It's like these, basically it's like these upper crust types of people going to this restaurant, held by this, very, very famous chef, and they're going to get a meal they didn't expect. And I was just like, yeah, eat the rich. I get it.
Is it really a cannibalism thing? I had no idea.
No.
Oh, it's not.
That's me assuming,
Okay.
and like, I just,
there's bones and all right now, which is a
Yes.
cannibalism thing.
no. And I just assumed there was some sort of sinister element to it. I don't know why. I was just so,
cannibalism having a moment, Brian?
yeah.
I
Well,
saw, actually,
we can get to that.
small tangent, Brian.
Yeah.
I saw a headline on like Vox or something. It says, "Is incest having a moment?" Because of House of the Dragon, and I read that. I'm like, no.
Yeah, like no.
What an odd- like, I know you need clicks, but come on. Anyway, sorry. go on.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking like what I would do if I had like written that. Like I'd want the click to lead to something like, what's the matter with you? Like that's it, like just you'll click anything, won't you? And that's the page that you get when you click on that. But no, okay. So the IMDb description of this is: a young couple travels to a remote island to eat at an exclusive restaurant where the chef has prepared a lavish meal with some shocking surprises. And I think I was just feeling, no pun intended, kind of starved for like a story I'd never seen before, and this was like a Fox Searchlight thing, and they're pretty dependable when it comes to things that are, just kind of interesting, a little left to center, but well done. Kind of indie, more polished indie movie kind of feel, I feel like I associate with them.
Right.
And so then I just suddenly was like, I really, really want to see the menu. I like turned on it so quickly. And so
You're like Homer with the clown college.
Oh, forgive my ugly cough. That was genius. You can't hold me back any longer. At Thanksgiving dinner, everybody's like, yeah, like, I'm watching the menu.
You just leave. Anyone who saw that coming.
Oh man. No, so when when we were in New York, seriously, this is like the most I've talked in like over a week. I apologize. When we were in New York, I had like an afternoon to myself, and so I went and saw it. Oh, Federica, this is what she does sometimes. She'll go on Wikipedia and she'll be like, "Have fun." She's not gonna watch it. So I was like, okay, well, there's some sinister element to it. I don't know what it is, but anyway, this, I really, really like this movie. This is exactly what I wanted it to be. I don't think it's perfect. Something comes up a little short when it's all said and done. Like, not all the parts add up together to something to make it like some sort of masterpiece. And I was like wrestling with that feeling at the end, like trying to figure out why. And I listened to a podcast about it just to hear other people talk about it. And they had the same feeling. I was like, okay, so I'm not alone with this. But I absolutely had no idea where this movie was going. I really, really enjoyed the journey. Ralph Fiennes is great. Anya Taylor-Joy, who I've always liked. I'm like, yeah, no, I like her, and she tends to be in good things. I would say this was like the first movie where I was actually like captivated by her. Like, wow, okay. She's like a really great lead. Like, she's very interesting. I was like really on her side. Her being sort of the odd person out. I mean, I think so much is revealed in the trailer. Like, everyone else seems to be in on something, and she doesn't understand it. And she's fantastic. Nicholas Hoult is very, very good, playing kind of this like obsessed fan of this chef. And you could transpose these sentiments on anything. People who are obsessed with filmmakers, people are obsessed with chefs, people are obsessed, whatever. It kind of digs into that culture where there's almost like worship of an artist, and like weird devotion to these people, and these people almost like punishing their audience or the people who assist them in creating their art. There is like sinister elements to it, but I don't think it's spoilers. It's not cannibalism. So I really enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it for anyone who's intrigued and wants to see something like, well, I've never seen that before. That and wants to lean forward and wonder where a story's going and loves that feeling. I would definitely recommend The Menu. I think the journey was absolutely worth it. So, yeah.
There we go. The menu.
Likewise, I had heard good things about this movie called Emily the Criminal. And in my sort of pursuit
This is the sequel to Emily in Paris.
Yeah, right. Is that what that's called? Oh, Emily in Paris. Yeah. That's right. This was an Aubrey Plaza movie, and I think I heard her on the Conan podcast talking about it. And I just wanted to see kind of like a human crime drama, just something that feels down to earth, and I don't know where the story's going. And that, again, quite literally what this is. Trying to see the IMDb description says, down on her luck and saddled with debt, Emily gets involved in a credit card scam that pulls her into the criminal underworld of Los Angeles, ultimately leading to deadly consequences. And this is one of those sort of small indie kind of movies, that's really about kind of a character study about a person and what they're willing to do, and the desperation they feel and what they're willing to do about it, and getting a little bit over their heads in something you could almost imagine, like you wouldn't make these choices, but they feel so down to earth that you can imagine, you can really put yourself in their position and want them to find their way out of it. And good character crime drama, very, very small, but and very simple. I explained to Federica afterwards. I was like, I could write this plot down really quickly on a napkin for you, but like I almost mean that in a as a compliment. I mean, when it's something that simple and it's interesting and the characters are good, there's just something about that crackles, and this crackled for me. So people looking for kind of a simple but well done crime drama, I'd definitely recommend Emily the Criminal. And Aubrey Plaza, it was kind of cool seeing her do something a little different. She's always plays these kind of dark comedic, antagonistic characters, but she's doing something a little different here, and I thought it was pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. Lastly, I don't know if you remember, Zachy, but about a month ago, there's a movie called Amsterdam that was going to be a big release.
It died rather spectacularly, as I recall.
It really did. It was one of those things that I did. I did not feel a lot for the trailer, but I like David O. Russell, not as a human being. Let me make that clear. But as a filmmaker,
we have to couch it. Yeah,
I know. He not a good guy, but I love Three Kings, and I even liked Joy, which I feel like a lot of people didn't see. Silver Linings Playbook, those films. Anyway, it's enough for me to be curious about what he does.
I mean,
and
it does seem sort of like the prequel to American Hustle or something, doesn't it? Kind of just from the
American. Excuse me. That's a perfect vibe sort of comparison there. Yeah, which he of course made. The description here says, in the 1930s, three friends witness a murder, are framed for it, and uncover one of the most outrageous plots in American history. Not that outrageous.
So it's more like Amsterdam it.
No, it's funny because I wanted to catch this in theaters because, I've mentioned before, I have that Regal thing where I can see unlimited things. And I was like, I want to go to the theater. Let's go check this out. And then I blinked and it was gone. And now it's on HBO. Like, right. That's how I watched it. So, I mean, that's how quickly things move these days.
I mean, Black Adam is already on paid VOD.
It's I can't back this up, but I thought I read that The Fabelmans is going to be available in a week.
Wow. Okay.
Crazy. But anyway, this movie is so weird and hard to describe, even my feelings on it. It truly feels like it's making itself up as it goes along. Like it's just kind of like, and then these guys are doing this and then whatever. And like, oh, did you know they're in the war? Let's go like watch them in the war for a while. And like, this is kind of how they became friends. And then they met this woman and whatever. Oh, wait. Yeah. Okay. So they witnessed a murder and blah, blah. Like, it's just so like, I was like, what is happening? And I will admit, I checked my watch a couple times while I was watching it and was shocked how much time was left.
No.
It kind of has like Inherent Vice vibes. I don't know if you ever saw that, the Paul Thomas Anderson
I have
movie.
not, but I know of it. Yeah.
I love Paul Thomas Anderson, but I honestly felt like I deserved a medal for getting through that movie. It's very Shaggy Dog, and this one is a little easier to follow, but not by a lot. And I will say this. I mean, ultimately, when it gets to whatever the big sort of shebang is at the end, you are like, this is the thing, huh? And yet, I did find watching the characters interesting. So Christian Bale, John David Washington, Margot Robbie, there's a million people in this. Taylor Swift, Chris Rock, Timothy Olyphant, Robert De Niro, Anya Taylor-Joy again playing like a really fun, quirky kind of character. Rami Malek, like just people just keep popping up. And when it was over, I was like, well, was that good? I don't know. I don't think it was. And at the same time, I did have that weird moment where I felt like I was returning to Earth when it ended. Okay. And I was like, there is something kind of magical about that feeling post watching a movie. So I have to acknowledge that this movie did kind of transport me somewhere else. And I did really enjoy, especially the main three.
But returning to Earth can mean a lot of things, right? It can be you went uplifted near heaven, or you got an anal probe by aliens.
No, I found the relationship between Bale, Robbie, and Washington very sweet. I found Robbie and she has like a brother and sister-in-law character in here. Make me very sympathetic for the Robbie character. Like I felt things for these characters. I mean, that actually kind of sums up how I feel about the movie. I think the characters are ultimately more interesting than the story. So, I don't feel like I can outright recommend it for everyone, but if you like these actors and seeing a slightly elevated yarn with a bunch of quirky characters sounds interesting, I mean, then that's what this has to offer.
Wow.
Yeah, I realize I make no sense here, but that's Amsterdam for you.
Well, I've seen a few things, Brian.
Let's hear it.
I dipping into the archives, not quite as recent. We're kind of flipping roles here, because normally you're the one who's like, I watched a movie from 1983.
Yeah.
That's me today. So I was home with the boys a couple weeks ago and just felt like putting something on. So I put on Volcano.
Oh, yes, which I've never seen.
1997.
Yeah.
This was, in the wake of Independence Day and Twister, when suddenly disaster movies were all the rage.
Yeah, and this was also one of two, where they had like the two meteor movies, right?
Yes.
This was one of two volcano movies coming out.
We had the double meteor thing in 1998 with Deep Impact and Armageddon. In 1997, we had double volcano. So there was Dante's Peak, starring Pierce Brosnan and Linda Hamilton, and then in 1997 we had Volcano, starring none other than Tommy Lee Jones.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And
so the entire movie is just him being like, "There's a volcano here, y'all. Come get it.
Come get it."
Yeah. And it is exactly what is on the tin. Like, this is not a movie that I'd be like, oh, you got to watch it right now.
Mm-mm.
But it is the movie that when you're in the mood for this movie, it will be the movie that proves you were right to be in the mood for it.
Okay.
There you go.
So, like, an entertaining 90s blockbuster.
It is a 90s blockbuster of a kind that truly we just don't get anymore.
Yeah.
It is, I mean, it's about a volcano bubbling under Los Angeles.
Uh-huh.
And yet it is, in a nice way, it feels very small scale.
Right.
Feels like a weird thing to say, but not a lot of CGI. It's just mostly Tommy Lee Jones being like, "Hey, get out of the way!"
Right.
And it's Don Cheadle as his guy, like he's the man in the chair. who's like, "Hey, Tommy," I don't even remember the guy's name.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones, run there, or whatever,
Yeah.
And it will keep your attention for the 104 minutes that it lasts.
Okay. Every now and then you remind me of some of these 90s movies that I missed. And I get in the mood for something that I know is going to be a certain scale, right? Because
Yeah.
now sky's the limit when it comes to scale. And
right.
then you can't even do like a volcano movie anymore because I feel like a studio wouldn't trust an audience to be interested enough. It has to be, The Rock, half the country's not only blowing up, it's also blowing down and falling in the ocean. It's like there's got to be like a million things going on, or they think it won't be enough. But like, I just want to watch people run away from a volcano.
Well, and it is, to that point, right? Like it's something where you can sort of understand the scope of the challenge, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's, I mean, like you're alluding to San Andreas,
Mm-hmm.
which the problem with a film like that is there's no happy ending, really,
Right.
because you can't undo everything that's happened.
Right.
I think I've said this before. One of my assignments in my class in my media class is I say watch a movie based on a true story, and then do some research and do a compare and contrast with the history and the film.
Mm-hmm.
So I had one student be like, "Can I do San Andreas?" And I was like, "Well, that's not a true story." And this person, Brian, looks at me and says, and I quote, "Are you sure?"
What? Have they seen it? Or do they just know that exists?
I'm just like, we live in the Bay Area. San Francisco is like 40 minutes away. Like, we'd know if it doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like you're in the middle of the country. Maybe you don't know,
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so it is very much low risk, low reward, empty calories. But sometimes, sometimes you just want a Big Mac.
100%. Wait, did you ever see Dante's Peak then?
I did, but I saw it, 25 years ago. I couldn't tell. There's one thing I remember in that film is where Pierce Brosnan, the vehicle he's in, which I believe is a truck, like the tires melt.
Like
that's like the only
driving over lava or something.
Yeah, they're like going over, and Linda Hamilton in one of her rare non-Terminator appearances.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering because with Armageddon, I mean that's the bombastic Michael Bay sweeping romantic epic one, and then you have Deep Impact, which is more the on Earth drama. Like they have their tones,
more like
right?
Sleep Impact, am I right? It was boring, is what I'm saying.
Well, I was wondering if these had their, this is the crazy one, and this is the one that's, really about.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would think that they're kind of just a few standard deviations from each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I think Volcano is inherently the more cockamamie premise because the idea that a volcano would be bubbling up under Los Angeles is silly. Let's see how well this comet ages.
Right.
But one presumes that would not actually happen, right?
Yeah.
But these types of movies, when you think about it, right? Like the assignment is you have to set up X number of characters who are tangentially connected to each other, and then you start and you wonder who's going to make it.
Yeah.
And that's the deal. So you're kind of like, well, I wonder what's going to happen to this person, and so I think it does the job of like certain characters. You're like, oh man,
Right.
And if you feel that, it does the job right, and it does harken back to that moment where Tommy Lee Jones really was everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, he was ubiquitous for a minute there.
He really was, which is kind of funny in hindsight, right? When you think of what an old grump he is, that he was like, like that he was a box office draw for like teenage Brian and Zachy.
That's right. And it's really because he plays the Tommy Lee Jones character. Like that's what you want.
Yeah.
Like, there's that meme of him at some awards show looking at the stage, I'm assuming, with just absolute indifference in his eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, if ever an entire screen persona is encapsulated in a single GIF, I think that's it.
I know.
And that's what you pay your admission to see.
Mm-hmm.
It does have Anne Heche in it, by the way, who, like, watching that, I was reminded, like, oh my gosh, like she's gone now. Like, you know what I mean?
I know, it's so weird.
Um, but yeah, so any of you listening, like, if you haven't seen it, it's like a good Saturday afternoon WPWR happens to be on type of movie.
Totally.
Another movie I saw, Brian, is Alive.
Yes, which I think I might have texted you about, because this was such a big movie when it came out. It was very zeitgeisty, right? Like, I mean, it was referenced everywhere, even on The Simpsons.
On The Simpsons.
And I've never seen it. And I'm super curious if this is maybe, some sort of gem I've been missing out on.
So this was a movie that when it came out in 1993. I had read the book about 2 years prior. When I was in Saudi Arabia. So I was like 11 or 12, and my teacher had given it to me. And, obviously I didn't know anything about the true story about the rugby team that crashed in the Andes. But I mean, I could not put this book down. It was so engrossing. And just plain grossing, right?
Right, right.
Because it's about, cannibalism, which is cannibalism is having a moment on our show.
Yeah, that's our Pee-wee secret word of this episode.
That's right. So it just so happens that I read the book, is very fresh in my mind, and then the film came out, and the film I had enjoyed it. It's directed by Frank Marshall, and it depicts.
Oh, really?
One of the. I mean, he doesn't direct a ton of movies, right?
Yeah.
He did this and Congo. I would say this is a better movie than Congo. I don't know if that's a controversial thing to say, Brian.
All those Congo heads out there are gonna.
But it's a very compelling story. So it was one of those things where I was like, when my kids are a little bit older, I want to watch it with them.
How did they react?
Well, my 11-year-old was like, let's watch a movie. He said, let's watch something that's based on a true story. And I said, oh, well, it's funny you ask, son. And then about 90 minutes later, he's just turned, the color has left his face. He's just kind of rocking back and forth in the fetal position. No, actually, they were really captivated by the story, because, I mean, it's a great, what would you do story.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the thing that everybody riffs on a lot is the cannibalism aspect, but like, is that just like one aspect of the story and that's what everyone has now like slapped onto this film? Or is that really like one of the big sort of angles of it?
Well, I think that's certainly the most sensational part of the story, right? And the book goes into greater detail about the agony, the emotional agony that the survivors went through.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, this was a college rugby team that was on their way to a tournament. Their plane crashes in the mountains. Nobody knows where they are. It's just a handful of people. And after a certain amount of time, they realize they will starve to death. And out of desperation, they cut meat from the bodies of the dead.
Right.
And eat it, which is just, I mean, just even having to articulate that, what a horrifying circumstance to ever be in. Yeah, you know what I mean? So the movie does get into that. But by the way, it stars Ethan Hawke in one of the main roles. Very, very young Ethan Hawke at this stage. And that was the other thing. I was like, this is an entirely Latin American team, and it is an entirely white people cast.
Was it really?
Yeah, I think Danny Nucci's, and I think he's the only like vaguely ethnic person in there.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's a moment in time right there, right? But it's really no. I mean, I think again, it's a movie that I don't know that it's had a shelf life afterwards.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, it was huge when it came out. I remember
when it came out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't seen it, I mean, you got like a really compelling character piece waiting for you,
Yeah. This is good. You're adding to my list, like sort of the ones that I'm like, oh, I remember that. I really need to throw that on the list.
Well, and in that vein, from that era, I also revisited with the boys the two Zorro movies starring
Mm,
Antonio Banderas.
yeah.
Which that now the Mask of Zorro, which came out in 1998, that has been a frequent request for commentary tracks. So I hope that's something that you and I can do in the next couple of years.
Wow, I'm kind of surprised we haven't done it.
Yeah, we've been working our way through like vintage hero movies,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think we've gotten requests for The Shadow and the Mask of Zorro.
Yeah, we just watched both of those recently, the Zorro films. But the Shadow, that's one.
It's a
Speaking of
weird
that,
one.
I missed that. I would like to. I just like to see it. I'm kind of curious.
I think it would make for a fun conversation.
Yeah,
But regardless, so the Zorro films, I mean, the first one I think is just legitimately great.
yeah.
The second one I think is the second one is The Legend of Zorro, which came out 7 years later, I think.
Oh wow.
And it's like okay, right?
Yeah, that was kind of my memory of it too. Like,
Yeah,
it's not as good as the
um,
first one, but it's still fun.
yeah. But that first movie, man, like that's one of those things I remember so distinctly when it came out. Like I went and I watched it a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, I mean, I haven't seen it in a little while, but it really holds up. I mean, it's just a great, like, Antonio Banderas is fantastic in it. That's the movie that, like, introduced Catherine Zeta-Jones to the world, even though she'd been around for a little while.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all.
No. You're making me. I'm having an epiphany. I think I've already said it out loud, but I'm realizing it even more. You mentioning these 90s movies, the reason I'm getting kind of excited about it is because if I were to watch some action movie that came out this week, everybody would be doing like all sorts of crazy things. And, like, yeah, like because of the technology, the action would be so big. Yeah, with a good filmmaker, it does dazzle, but sometimes it can just get so big that I'm just like, like
Yeah.
it's just, I'm just used to it. Like few things dazzle much
Well,
anymore.
and
But when I'm
this is
picturing
Martin
Zorro,
Campbell.
I'm picturing that huge set at the end, with the mining thing and him riding a shovel down a thing, like, and it feels genuinely
Yeah.
thrilling because it's like, wow, that looks cool. Like that looks dangerous. That guy just flipped
That's
over
a
a thing.
guy
Like,
doing that.
yeah, like there's something personally for me a bit more thrilling about those types of stunts and action, and that's kind of what still turns me on, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, Martin Campbell did, essentially he did Goldeneye, then he did two Zorro movies, and then he did Casino Royale. Like
I mean,
just
geez,
sandwiched in between his James Bonds.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, I mean we talked about Martin Campbell when we did our Casino Royale track. I mean he's just an old school hands on kind of director, and
mm-hmm.
it's not a name that I think most people know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yet I feel like you put him on a movie, you're getting a certain baseline of what to expect. So uh, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it has one of those scores that like you're going to end up listening to it for several weeks. The Mask of Zorro, just
Right.
great James Horner score. So I hope we will come back to the Mask of Zorro at some point on this show.
Yeah, definitely.
And then last but not least, I finally got around to watching Clerks III.
Hey, okay, what'd you think?
The movie ends, and I'm kind of like, what is this salty discharge coming out of my eyes? Yeah.
I was shocked, but I teared up too.
It was, I would say, a perfect ending to a trilogy that didn't need to be a trilogy or to end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, who would have thunk when Clerks comes out in 1994? You're like, oh, 30 years from now almost, I'm gonna be so invested in these characters that like I want to go on like one last journey with them.
I know.
You know?
I just rewatched Clerks 1. I can't remember if I mentioned it on the show, but it was on like Showtime or something. I just love those guys. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's especially knowing the story of the making of that movie, which is truly people who have absolutely no connection to Hollywood whatsoever, renting a camera, hiring non-actors and just making something. And somehow,
Yeah.
like, they just got lightning in a bottle with that duo. I just love those guys together, Dante and Randall, those characters. And revisiting it, I still find it hilarious. And I still find their chemistry just really, really charming. And so, yeah, like it's funny to, I think I was texting you and saying, back then I was like 14 or something, and you kind of relate to their angst, right? But then when you get to Clerks 3 and they're older and they've lost a little, and you relate to their later in life reflection.
Right.
And who would have ever imagined that's a journey we would have gone on with these guys, telling all these dick jokes and stuff.
Well, and with that in mind, I want to talk about the ending. So, Brian, tell people how far ahead they should jump to avoid spoilers.
Hi, this is Federica. If you'd like to avoid spoilers for Clerks 3, skip ahead about 7.5 minutes to the first commercial break. Thank you.
So, the ending is this very poignant thing where Dante dies.
Yeah.
Did you see that coming?
No, I really didn't.
Going in, right?
No.
Like, because that's not what you expect out of this.
No, this
world,
like
right?
very silly, slapsticky, tone.
And it what struck me is when it ends and Dante is dead. This feels like an appropriate connection to make because it's something that Kevin Smith does all the time. It was a little bit like Han Solo dying in Star Wars.
Mm.
And let me explain that. Like when Force Awakens happened, when you think about it, we had 30 years of Han Solo being frozen in amber.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He existed on the painted covers of novels as that guy.
Right.
And so that you're like, well, that's Han Solo. That's how he always is. And then you're like, oh my gosh, like these characters are vulnerable all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about it, Dante and Randall for 28 years or whatever it's been are, they're cartoon characters.
Yeah.
And they're, you know what I mean? Like they stay frozen that way. So to add this pathos, this very deep pathos, right?
Yeah.
It shows both how much the audience has grown up with these characters, but also the risk that Kevin Smith was willing to take.
Yeah. And maybe also because this movie is also very goofy, right? I mean, there's a lot of really goofy things in it, but something about their relationship and even the things that they feel, like this anguish, like I think you and I are very thankful for a lot of things in our lives, but like there's like little bits of anguish that never go away and things you're continuing to yearn for, to strive toward. And you sort of, or at least I do, I recognize some of those feelings in these characters, right? And seeing them in this film then strive for those things and even kind of achieve those things and have these realizations about what the other means to the other, like what they mean to one another. And then to have them like taken apart from each other, it was so unexpected. And the ending where you see Randall with the other kid, behind the counter and realizing like Dante's never going to be there to banter with him again. I was heartbroken.
Seriously. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think,
And then when you see Dante standing there,
mm-hmm.
and it's just, I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of like, it's such a weird comparison, but it's like Ray sitting at the controls of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Like, never going to be there again,
Yeah. Yeah. It was, it's so, completely unexpected, but also like really poignant. And yeah, it touched me.
And this is something you said earlier when we talked about it a couple months ago, but the movie asked a lot of Brian O'Halloran.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, both of them, of Jeff Anderson and Brian O'Halloran, but certainly with Brian O'Halloran, he gets some moments where it probably pushes against his limits as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something you had said, like you appreciated that.
Yeah.
That, it sort of challenged him as an actor. And I mean, he's not a professional, but I was like, I really like that Kevin Smith let the characters go there, let the actors go there.
Yeah, there's that scene where he unloads basically
That's
on
right.
Randall while they're filming, and I found myself getting like a lump in my throat hearing these
That's
two
right.
friends talk to each other that way.
Yeah.
You know, I was really impressed with him and what he was
And
doing.
apparently, at least part of the reason the story went the way it did was because they only had Rosario Dawson for like a day.
Oh, interesting.
Isn't that fascinating? Like, sort of out of necessity, uh, it took the turns that it did,
Hmm.
and yet it's hard to imagine the movie going any other way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Oh man, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you had the same feelings that I did.
And we were texting about this, how it feels like the experience that our generation, and maybe even the slice of our generation that grew up with these films, we have an experience with these films and these characters that will be impossible to replicate.
Yes.
No, like, I don't think you can watch Clerks 1, 2, and 3 now and have the same experience, same reaction.
Yeah. Yeah. Not exactly. Yeah.
Like, this is aimed at the inside group. Now, that said, I watched it with Amina and she really liked it.
I was wondering, I think I mentioned when I was talking about it, I couldn't imagine someone who's just doesn't have any connection to this universe, how they would respond to it.
Yeah, we watched the first one like back when we first got married, like maybe '04 or something, before the second one came out. We hadn't seen it since then, but she remembered it. So, like, this movie worked on that level.
Yeah.
But man, I'll tell you, just like sitting in the theater all by himself, and his life is flashing before his eyes.
Yeah.
And it, what does he say? Like, that's the best movie I ever saw, right? And it's this the exact joke. He's like, "What makes you think I want to live through all of this again?" And what the realization is, no, I had a good life.
It's kind of like that John Lennon quote I'm going to screw up, where it's like, life is what happens when you're busy making plans.
Man, so true.
Right?
Well, let's take a short break, Brian. Let's compose ourselves. We got some listener letters. And we are back. And hey, Brian, here, we've been gone long enough that the mailbag has started to get full.
Oh, we got to do something about that.
It's like the scene in Miracle on 34th Street, when they like come in with all the letters from Santa.
Yeah.
That's sort of what we got right now. So this is a note we got from James Mullen, and this is in reference to, we were talking about The Kid Detective, remember?
Yes, yes.
And I said, oh, it's like a Encyclopedia Brown reinvention. And so James says there's a show on Hulu called Dicktown that currently has 2 seasons that's also very good. As you might say, you've got a good show waiting for you. Now, I feel like this is just James's clever plan to make me type Dicktown into Google. And I'm not going to do that, James.
Too late, James. I did it.
Screwing up my Google algorithm, will you?
That's hilarious.
I have not heard of that show, actually, but
I'm looking. Oh, it's animated. Okay. Let's see. Who we got here? John Hodgman is the lead. Oh, Stephen Tobolowsky. Amy Sedaris. Okay. Kristen Shaw. Griffin Newman. Zach Galifianakis. Paul F. Tompkins. Wow. All right.
Quite the rogues gallery.
Yeah. Okay. I'm curious. I'll check this out.
Amy Sedaris, who is in Clerks 3, by the way.
Yeah, that's right.
Here's another note we got from Jeffrey Meisner, who says, "Hi, I've started listening to your podcast a couple of years ago, and I thought it'd be interesting to check out where it all began with your, quote, pilot."
No.
Now, bear in mind, Brian, Jeffrey was forced to do this because of your 20-day sick out. You see what you've done?
I have no one to blame but myself.
I have some questions about MovieFilm's secret origin story. How did it start? How did it start? It started in 2000 and I want to say 11.
12? 11? Yeah.
Well, we started officially in 2012, but like the hey, we should do this was like a year earlier.
Yeah, we did. Did we have like 2 pilots?
Well, we did like one
Like a test or
test
something?
show.
Yeah.
Test show, which I have sitting in a drawer, figuratively, on my computer. It will never see the light of day.
Yeah.
We'll never
Yeah.
say no,
Never did
but
it.
it's unlikely it'll see the light of day.
Yeah.
But I had pitched it to you much earlier. I was like, hey, we should do this, and then we spent a year not doing it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think I've said before, it started because whenever I would go down to SoCal, you and I would just, we'd be hanging out and we'd just shoot the breeze about movies. And at some point, it became harder for me to come down there.
Yeah.
And B, I was like, well, I feel like if we have a podcast, it's an excuse for us to talk to each other. And that's been the case for 10 years now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was like we were quite literally doing this show. It's funny, actually. I remember when you visited a couple years ago and you came to my office and we watched, because they have a movie theater in there.
That's right.
Remember,
That's right.
one of my coworkers hadn't seen, I believe it was Back to the Future.
That's
and
right.
so we were going to watch it. You were there. And before it started, they were like, Brian, do you have anything you want to say about it? And so I was kind of like queuing up the movie, and then you started chiming in, and then you and I started talking. And I remember someone went, it's like the show.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you remember that? And I mean, that's what we do. We just do this. So,
But what's funny, funny, Brian, is last year when you and Federico were up here, remember? And I met you, and I brought my 2 older ones, right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we sat and shot the breeze for a while. As we're leaving, as we're walking back to the car, Hamza's like, it was like listening to the show.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's funny.
Yeah.
So we were already doing it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We just this gives us the excuse to keep doing it, which is nice.
Yep.
Now Jeffrey asks, in the pilot, Zachy said the theme song was written by Alan Thicke. I feel
That feels like something you would say.
Well, it was not me, actually. That was Sean. I should
really?
say that. He says, I feel awkward asking, but is that real or a joke? It was so random. I thought it was a joke, but then you talked about Alan and Robin Thicke for another minute or so. And no one was laughing or joking.
Laughing. Sorry.
It's like that movie Police Academy. I didn't hear anyone laughing. Did you? Or whatever. So that was Sean that said that in our very first episode.
Oh,
Sean, our dearly departed former host, who is dearly departed he's still alive. He's just not hosting the show anymore. But he wrote and sang the theme song and our current theme song, which you still have.
Yes.
I don't know why he credited Alan Thicke. That's just the type of madcap Sean Coyle zaniness that he brought to the table. Yep. The late Alan Thicke, we should say, R.I.P. is no longer around.
Yeah, that's right.
That's all except this. I've heard you both joke before about being afraid to hear your pilot. I just wanted to say there is nothing to fear.
Really?
While I'll admit I'm glad you guys improved your sound recording techs. The tenets of what make your podcast great were already there. Camaraderie, fun, and a love of film. Congratulations on 10 years of MovieFilm, and I hope there are many more years to come. Happy holidays, Jeff.
Oh, thanks so much, Jeff. Man.
That's just a nice thing to say.
The tech, I don't even want to think about
the things so Hamza listens to the show and kind of the same drill again, big enough gap. He's like, well, I just went back to the beginning. So a lot of people are doing this.
Wow.
So this is your warning that even if you're at death's door, you get on mic.
Yeah.
We have a whole bunch of people going back.
I know. Yeah. Oh man.
So he was like, it was very funny because remember when we started recording this show, he was like 5.
Wow.
Right? So it's like he's hearing me from what feels like a lifetime ago, right?
Yeah. Wow. That'd be fascinating to have something like that with my dad, like that long ago on record,
Well, he talks about, he having listened to some of the early ones, he talks about how we were talking about a potential 5th Indiana Jones movie and what we had to say about that.
Oh, funny.
And now this episode we'll be talking about a 5th Indiana Jones movie. So you can see the contrast there.
It's probably us with like spittle coming from our mouths, like cursing the idea. And on this one, we're like, I'm so excited.
But I told him, I said, there is one of our early episodes where Brian, we can talk about this now, right?
Probably.
Where Brian's entire contribution was recorded post facto.
Oh, yes. I
And he's like,
basically
which one
looped
is it?
an episode.
Yeah. So what happened here is that we had 3 separate mics going, me, Sean, and Brian. And Brian, your mic did not work. I think that's what happened, right?
Yeah, something. I don't know.
Something. And Sean was like, well, I'm not doing that again.
Yes. Yeah,
Whatever.
like not starting an entire episode all over. Yeah.
Yeah, I gave you gold. You get one take from me, and I'm out. And Brian, being exceedingly naive at that moment, you were like, well, I'll just listen to it and I'll like re-record my thing. How hard could that be?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I literally looped an entire episode. I mean, if I went like it's all
so in other words, for folks who don't, so it'll be like me being like, hey Brian, what's that thing on your face? And then gap. And then Sean's like, yeah, it looks hideous. And then Brian had to remember what he said in that moment and time it to both me saying it and Sean reacting.
Yeah, or I think I might have had like a bad track I was able to listen to. Like sort of a guide, you know what I mean? Like I could hear me go like, guys, stop it, or something, you know? And so then I'd be like, okay, and guys, stop it, you know, kind of a thing. Yeah, you know, but the kicker for me was then a couple episodes later, the same thing happened to Sean.
Yes.
So I'm ruining it maybe. But yeah, he was just like, well, we got to record it again. And I was like a poo at the door when Homer opened it and like with my hands outstretched, ready to strangle him.
So the one we re-recorded from scratch was our Good Day to Die Hard episode.
Is that it? Yeah, I remember it was the one where Tony Scott died.
That was the. Did you want to say which one it is? I was going to be like, you're never going to know which.
Oh shoot! No, you know what? I want my metaphorical Emmy for all the editing and acting I did in that episode.
Because I told him, he's like, which one is it? I was like, I'm never telling you.
Oh yeah. Oh well. Now I don't know if I hear it now. It'll maybe I don't want people to hear it.
So I'm going to let Brian decide while editing this show whether people know what it is.
Maybe it's a curiosity. Why not?
Well, thank you so much for that, Jeffrey. Here's an email we got from Thomas Olson who says, hello to my favorite podcasting duo.
Thanks, Thomas.
I just saw The Fablemans the other night and I absolutely loved it. I agree with Brian. I could have taken another hour or two of it. Once Zachy sees it, are you guys planning to do a longer spoiler chat about it? Well, I hope so. If not, Brian, I'd love to hear any more thoughts you have on it. Also, yeah. Zachy, did you ever see Spielberg's West Side Story from last year? It's surprisingly one of my all-time favorite Spielberg films. Thomas then ends with, lastly, with the 5-year anniversary of The Last Jedi coming up, can we expect a commentary track for it coming soon? So let me first answer the West Side Story thing. No, I have not seen it. However, my wife watched it a couple of nights ago, and I was lying in bed next to her. I did not hear it because I had my AirPods in, but I just wanted to share that somebody near me saw it. So there.
No interest?
I will see it at some point, but I'm barely keeping my head above water right now with all my school stuff.
Yeah. I get it. It's very good.
So as far as Fablemans, by the next time we record, I hope to have seen it. So hold your thoughts on that.
I would love to talk about it more, and more than anything, I would love to talk about it more with you. So yeah, I look forward to that.
So let's put a pin in that one. This is a note we got from Tyler Kloster, who says, I was late getting to the newest episode, but as always, it was a wonderful listen. As someone who increasingly thrives on 90s nostalgia in my old age, I hear that, Tyler. I laughed at your mention of the Amy Fisher Joey Buttafuoco incident and all the TV movies based on it.
Yeah.
The one thing you didn't mention is that 2 of those movies actually aired on the same night on competing networks.
I didn't know that. That's wild.
That's insane. You would think such an honor would be reserved for people of more importance or substance, like Gandhi or Muhammad Ali or even Elvis, but no, Joey Buttafuoco.
Joey Buttafuoco, yeah.
At least I can laugh remembering how David Letterman would get his audience to laugh just by saying the word Buttafuoco.
Yeah.
As for the movies themselves, I confess that I did check out the Alyssa Milano one. Well, that's understandable, Tyler, for about 5 to 10 minutes, but changed the channel after realizing it was, wait for it, No Magnificent Murders.
Good one, Tyler.
Thanks as always. Thanks as always for the great podcast. You know, I'm reminded of, there was an episode of the show News Radio where there's a whole running joke where the Andy Dick character, he got in trouble for mispronouncing the word Buttafuoco on air, but we never hear what he said.
Oh, that's
you
funny.
can assume. So the whole thing, like, you said that on there. I thought it was funny.
That's funny.
A couple messages I got on Twitter. This is from JJ Hodges. He says, dude, I was dying during your and Brian's Twitter discussion in your last episode. I legit laughed out loud during that whole bit.
Oh man, I wish I could remember it.
I don't remember what we said about it. And then Robert messaged me also on Twitter. He says, forget movie talk. After your Twitter rampage, I want more of, quote, Zachy rails against capitalism. And I feel like I need to clarify this before I get tagged with something that's not true. So first of all, I am not anti-capitalism. I'm a fan of capitalism.
I would love if we had like little teasers at the beginning of our episodes. This one is just like, well, for the record, I'd like to say that I am not anti-capitalism. Today on.
Yes. So I feel like I should. I am, however, anti-multi-billionaires.
Absolutely, yeah.
And let me explain this, because I think we're talking about this Twitter insanity, right? And we're kind of like, $44 billion that this guy drops on this site, and why? Because he can, right?
Yeah.
And let's think, Brian, let's think about this for a second. Let's say that you, Brian, you wake up tomorrow with, let's just say $1 billion, $1 billion in your bank account, not several billions, 1 billion. Okay. Mm-hmm. Of that billion, how much do you need to live off of for the rest of your life?
I don't know, but I think I'm covered.
Okay, right. So let's be very generous and say of that billion, you need half. So $500 million. Let's put that's your nest egg for the rest of your life. That's a pretty generous nest egg, right?
Mm-hmm.
That gives you $500 million to do whatever the F you want with.
Yeah.
Now let's multiply that by several billion more. So if you've got 10 billion, you need $500 million, being very, very generous. So that means you have $9.5 billion to do whatever you want with.
Right.
Well, that's like, think about it. That's like handing people the economic equivalent of nuclear missiles.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's just what I have to say about that.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, when you get to the
seems
point,
wrong to me.
I agree. And honestly, this kind of ties into the plot of Amsterdam, coincidentally, where it's just like, generally speaking, once you get to a certain level of wealth, you can just literally do whatever you want, and when those things don't work out for you, no trouble awaits. You basically get to buy your way out of everything. And it's not good. It's not good that as many people are currently able to operate that way, and they can really mess up a lot of things.
We don't care who we piss off over here on this show.
With our controversial takes.
But thank you for all of those comments. Let's take another short break and talk about some of the new trailers that dropped in the last couple of weeks. And we're back, and hey, some brand new trailers in the last. Well, they're not brand new anymore, but like in the last 10 days.
Yeah.
We had catching up to do. So first up, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yeah.
Let's first play some of the audio from this.
Don't forget where we came from.
We have been running our whole lives. Pete, I'm done running.
So I was just checking, and the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie came out. It'll be 6 years between the second and third one,
Wow.
which
Feels
feels
like it's
like a
been a
long
while.
time, isn't it?
Yeah, I need to watch it again. I haven't seen it since the theater. I don't remember a lot of it.
Guardians 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I revisited it. I think like one time in the lead up to Infinity War. I think,
Mm.
but that's probably it. I mean, I remember liking it, right?
I remember not liking it as much as one,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, you like the gang. Like I like spending more time with the gang.
Well, so before we even talk about this trailer, I mean, did you see the recently the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special that they just dropped on Disney Plus?
Yes, I did. That was like I think the last thing I remember before I was like, I think I'm getting sick.
Maybe it made you sick.
Oh, that might have been.
That might be it.
No, I enjoyed it. It's funny. As it was going, it felt sort of like a trifle, but it's funny. I like the gang, right? And by the end, it gets like all kind of like emotional and sweet and whatever. And I was like, yeah, that's just what they do. Like Gunn just kind of knows how to do that. He knows how to dig in and just make you really feel for a ragtag group of people. And when it was all said and done, I mean, I do think it is very, very simple, and light, but it's sweet and fun.
So clearly, this was something where they took advantage of whatever sets they had around, right? Like they weren't out of pocket on this.
Sure.
And that's a good thing because it feels like it was an easy way to get these characters in front of audiences. In essence, it's like an extended trailer for the movie.
Yeah, like kind of lead in and hey, let's get reacquainted with the gang.
Yeah, because like we saw them in the two Avengers movies, but there was a different dynamic at play there.
Yeah,
I like how they put Kevin Bacon in. It's like in the Star Wars Holiday Special where like Art Carney shows up.
exactly.
It's like that
And sings the song.
That's right. Yeah. So it felt to me like a fun way to seed some of the stuff that's going to be impactful in the third movie. Like make it like, Mantis and Peter are siblings.
Mm-hmm.
That feels like a piece of information that now that it's out of the way, that's less time the movie needs to do.
Right.
And if I'm assuming that'll have some importance,
Yeah.
The other thing, based on the trailer, it seems like they want to kind of do an Avengers Endgame with the Guardians of the Galaxy, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like it feels like not everybody's going to make it out of this one.
Yeah. I can imagine that. I mean, Gunn seems he's for sort of like his horror roots and whatnot. He seems to be really good at sort of pulling the heartstrings.
Mm-hmm.
And by any means necessary, by being sweet or by also, taking things away from people.
Well, I mean, I remember watching the second one and like, when Michael Rooker dies at the end,
mm-hmm.
being like very moved by that. I thought it was a very well done sequence,
Yeah.
I would not be surprised at all if either Drax or Rocket, or maybe both, don't make it out of this third movie.
Right.
Would not be surprised in the least.
Yeah, seeing Little Rocket was so
Yeah.
adorable. So yeah, maybe that's it, right? We're gonna get like a real look at his story, kind of a tragic story,
Yeah,
and then maybe he'll have some sort of big sacrifice at the end, and who knows?
I could see that happening. Yeah.
Yeah,
We also get our first look at Will Poulter as Adam Warlock.
right. He's kind of teased, right, at the end of 2. Is that?
Yeah, at the very end, I think in one of the post-credit scenes, we see kind of the cocoon that he's in,
Right.
with Elizabeth Debicki's characters, like I'll call him Adam or something like that. So this is a very important Marvel character who I think people have been sort of waiting to see him make his MCU debut. And, in the Infinity Gauntlet comic stories, it's essentially a battle between Thanos and Adam Warlock. And so the fact that they did that whole story without Warlock makes me very curious. Like, what is his role in all this?
Is he a good guy or a bad guy?
He's nominally a good guy, but he's also one of these like cosmic entities who's beyond concepts of good and bad, one of those guys,
One of those.
Yeah. So certainly a very popular character, but like I said, I mean, they're kind of, this is James Gunn's farewell to the MCU.
Yeah. Right.
And so it feels, I'm assuming, that like he's sort of leaving Warlock behind as a character who I would assume other people will do something with,
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this. I was always going to watch Guardians 3, but I wouldn't say I was like excited for it. You know what I mean? But seeing this trailer, I'm like, man, I'm ready. Like, let's do this.
I had the 100% same experience. Especially, I watched the special first and was like, well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Like it put me in a good mood and I liked it, but I didn't think a ton about it, when it was over. And then following that, we went straight to the trailer and I was like, yep, I'm ready. Let's do this. So
that is next May. And then a couple months later, in June, we have this movie coming out.
I don't believe in magic, but a few times in my life, I've seen things I can't explain. And I've come to believe it's not so much what you believe. It's how hard you believe it.
Okay, so Brian, we've spent per my son, we've spent 10 years talking about a hypothetical Indiana Jones 5 that is now officially no longer hypothetical. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is now headed our way. What are your thoughts after seeing this trailer?
I'm so excited.
Are you Charlie Brown running at that football?
Yes, I am.
Willingly.
I will say this. Much people who have gone back and listened to older episodes know much oxygen has been spilt by me complaining about the fourth film. And I think that has now prepared me in many, many ways. One, can you make Last Crusade? Can you make Raiders again? No, you can't. And like, this one isn't going to be those movies. It may disappoint me. I don't know, but I am, I think, better equipped to walk into something knowing, it's probably not going to look the way I want it to look exactly. And it may, go in this direction that like, it's not going to be those things because it's impossible to do that. So I'm going to go in with a different set of expectations. Excited to see one of my favorite characters of all time in a whole new adventure. And I'm just hoping to have a delightful romp. That's what I want, and I think what I saw in the trailer looked like a lot of fun. I mean, I know Spielberg didn't direct this, but It's funny. There's such a small, like a second and a half moment in the trailer where, there's like a car chase and Indy is like using his boot to push a machine gun away from himself as it's like firing. And I was like, that's Indy. Like that little I don't know how to explain it, but like that little moment, I was like, that makes me think of Indiana Jones. That little type of action and car chase, machine gun, pushing it away with his boot. I was like, that's what I want. That's what I want. So I'm excited. I'm excited to go in with a different set of expectations, hoping to have a great time. So I'm curious. We actually haven't taled about it. What did you think?
I think it looks pretty terrible, to be honest. No,
Are you serious?
I'm just joking.
Hey, yeah, that's fair.
No, it's funny because the trailer dropped as I was on my way to class, and it was a film class that I teach, and so I get to class and I'm like, hey guys, you guys want to watch the Indiana Jones trailer, like on the big screen, and I start playing it, and after maybe a minute, like somebody from another class pokes their head in, like, can you turn that down, please?
Really?
I'm like, oops. I
Was
guess
it that loud?
Apparently it was, right? I'm like, you shut the hell up. This is the Indiana Jones trailer. You show some goddamn respect, is what I said. And I'm not working there anymore. Anyways,
Right.
that story. This is, it is hard not to let your expectations get the better of you, because I remember just being so delighted by the first trailer for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
I will never forget watching that trailer. Yeah.
Right? Like the teaser, remember, it has like the like kind of this music that's not John Williams, and it shows clips from the previous movies. And that's the trailer that has the better delivery of when Harrison Ford says part-time. Do you remember?
Yeah, yeah. You're a teacher?
Yeah. Because in the trailer he's like part-time, and then the movie's like part-time.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's a weird take to go with,
Yeah.
But anyway, so that all of that, you have to like you have to the reality that you could very well be in for disappointment. You have to sort of put that to one side and be like, I want to be enveloped by this trailer. I want it to like a big cloud of cotton candy. I just want to, because it's a feeling, and that's what I've realized is like when I look back at Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the movie aside, I associate it with a feeling of being there with you guys, and just that. And that's all positive memories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's all good memories, even if I didn't have a good experience with the movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know that like for this one, well, we're gonna hopefully, knock on wood, we're all gonna watch it together.
Yep. Oh,
no matter what,
that's happening.
Right?
Yeah.
So the film, we talked about this last time, but like I think James Mangold, and for as much as we're like, I don't know, Steven Spielberg's not doing it, and it's like, well, Spielberg, his heart is in The Fabelmans.
Yeah. Yep. And I gotta respect it. I mean, he's 75 years old. Like,
that's right.
Do you?
And Mangold is the Raiders generation.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly from this trailer, he has internalized the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Right? Like James Mangold makes certain types of movies, and this does not look specifically like a Mangold movie. It looks like he's trying to work within this aesthetic. Right?
Yeah, this is like visual language. I mean, I really sense it, especially the way that it kicks off with that. I don't know what you even call them, those two carts or whatever racing through the street. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the way that the camera kind of catches up to the action, you see them bumping. I mean, it feels very indie.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so this is meant to be the final film. I saw somebody online talking about how, just in a broader sense, talking about how they made a mistake by making Indiana Jones a saga character as opposed to a character that's passed off from one actor to another.
Mm.
So, in other words, not letting him be a James Bond who remains forever young. And I was thinking about that only in the sense of like, that's probably true in that if the role had carried on, like after Last Crusade, somebody else becomes Indiana Jones. Just like, would people have complained? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now we're here. Like this, and I'm like, well, what's wrong with Indiana Jones being a 5-movie journey?
Same. Yeah, I think
Right?
that's my ultimate sort of feeling. I understand what they're saying, but like, I don't know. I mean, I know people would probably feel the same way about Bond, but Indy's Ford. You know,
Yeah.
I really don't know how to. Yeah, I like it. I like it that it's like, yeah, like you say, like a 5-episode journey
Yeah,
with
I mean,
this guy.
like I think that what the argument being made was like, think about all the movies we're not getting because we've just, it's only Harrison Ford, and I'm like, yeah, it's let's do something else then, like
Yeah.
let Indiana Jones exist. When I talked to Lawrence Kasdan a couple months ago, that was, when I interviewed him about the Light and Magic, right, that show.
Hmm.
And I asked him about Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I was like, "Can you see anyone else picking up the fedora, being the next guy?" And he's like, "Well, I wish them luck, but I'd rather see somebody else create something new." Just like that's what Indiana Jones was, right? It was
Hmm.
an interpretation of those old serial characters, and they did their thing. We'll do something else that's inspired by that,
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's like my silent prayer every night that someone will think of something new.
something new would
Um,
be nice.
yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
it's so funny. By the way, I should mention. A couple of weeks ago, I talked to Jonathan Kasdan, who's the new Willow TV series that's on Disney Plus.
Yeah. I gotta check that out.
He's the EP of that, and so I mentioned to him how I talked to his dad a couple months
Mm.
earlier. Now, Jonathan Kasdan, this is interesting. He's exactly 5 days younger than me.
Oh, interesting.
So we're exactly the same age.
Oh, wow.
And his brother Jake Kasdan is exactly my brother's age.
Oh, oh, that's
It's
funny.
really random because
Yeah.
my brother is September 74, Jake Kasdan is October 74. So it's the same difference, right?
Yeah.
And so I was telling him, I was like, you must have just like we have the same frame of reference pop culture wise, and I was like, for you, your dad is just dad, like
Mm-hmm.
I told him, I was like, when I talked to your dad, I was like Chris Farley in the Chris Farley show.
Right.
I'm like, remember when? And I love that I said that he got exactly what I was saying.
Yeah, of course he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
And he talked about how he was out to dinner with Benioff and Weiss from Game of Thrones and his dad. And these two guys are like, oh my gosh, Lawrence Kasdan. And he's like, oh my gosh, you guys,
Right. Right.
I was like, what a cool thing to have as part of your experience,
Yeah.
Anyway, so Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, I am going in with nothing but optimism. I'm going to say optimism, Brian.
It's been a journey. It's been a journey for me, but like I think in 2008 when Crystal Skull came out, I was very frustrated when I would see something that was like a CGI, like the whole jungle sequence. And I'm so used to the real tactile dirt in the lens sort of, like tank sequence. Like it's like there's a tank and a horse and Indy's jumping on it, and we're going to get like 15 of the most thrilling minutes you've ever seen out of this. And that's what I want from Indiana Jones. And when I was watching this new trailer, I realized, there's like a moment on top of a train and it kind of looks like that CGI murky looking thing. And I was like, I don't love that. But it's 2022, man. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm telling myself now. Like, this is what movies look like. Like, you know what I mean? So I think the benefit this movie will have from Brian is that I'm going to be walking in with like that perspective. Like, is that my choice? No, it's not my choice. But like, that's what movies look like. So that buckle up, like, give it the benefit of the doubt, and let's just hope for like a great story.
So you might say that after this entire 10-year saga from where our show started to now, you know what we got out of it, Brian? Illumination.
Yes. Let's hope so.
Hope so. Let's take another short break. Come back, talk some headlines. And we are back, and here's some sad news just to start things out. Jason David Frank passed away, Brian.
Yeah, this was sad, shocking news.
It really is, and you know, for those of you who don't know, he was famous for having played the Green Ranger on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, eventually becoming the White Ranger, and really ended up kind of becoming the face of that franchise for a while. You and I are not part of the fan base for that show. We were a little bit older, but
Yeah,
I mean, it was
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, I feel like the cutoff was like right at us, but my brother was into it. And
See,
so
that
just
sounds about right.
from, watching over his shoulder, like I knew how beloved this character was. Like he was, people his age and younger loved the Power Rangers, but I know this character in particular to this
Right.
day was like just someone that people of that vintage just absolutely loved.
Yeah, and I think it was impossible to be, even slightly older than the demographic, but to not be aware of, like you said, the Power Rangers in general, but specifically this actor as this character, Tommy, the White Ranger, and that, like, we lost Kevin Conroy just a couple weeks before this, and that was heart-wrenching. That was something that you and I talked about, but I saw a version of that reflected in people's reactions to Jason David Frank's passing, and my understanding is he had been dealing with depression, and he took his own life, which is just obviously, deeply tragic given how much he meant to people. I'm curious, like, what did Dan say about this?
Actually, I don't know that we really talked about it.
I mean, he was 49.
Yeah.
And that was the other thought I had. I was like, he wasn't that much older than us.
Yeah, I know. It's so weird.
It's weird being a kid, 13, 14. Like, oh, well, those are adults.
Yeah,
he's probably like in his early 20s, right?
Yeah, that is weird, isn't it? Yeah, when you're like 13 or something, and then several years pass, and you realize these 90210 characters or whoever, you're like, oh, they're only like 6, 7, 8 years older than us. It's not really that much.
Not a lot. That's not a huge one. He had a cameo in the 2017 Power Rangers movie.
Oh, really? I actually don't remember, but I remember you and I liked that movie. You remember that?
Did?
We were like, all right, we'll go see this Power Rangers thing, and then we came back. It didn't really do that great, but you and I were like, that was a blast.
It was. I remember watching it, and I think I told you, I was like, I think you should watch it. I think you'll like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was in it, and Amy Jo Johnson, who was the Pink Ranger.
Right.
They both put in these little cameos, but it is one of those things where, like, as we get older, so many people are passing away, like, not just like people from like that older generation.
Yeah.
But, like, you know what I mean? Like, people that are closer to our wingspan. And that's disconcerting. I mean, it is just an acknowledgement of time, but obviously in this particular situation, he was dealing with these issues that drove him to this point. Just very sad, by all accounts, he seemed like a really good guy, really generous with fans. He would show up at conventions, and people who grew up with that show were introducing him to their kids, and I would imagine that would mean a lot for somebody who did what he did.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that he, in his time here, was able to experience that love, from the fans, and know that what he did left like a real impact.
Another passing that came out of nowhere. Kirstie Alley passed away at age 71.
Yeah, that was shocking.
She had a brief struggle with cancer that came on quite quickly. And I mean, again, this is one of those headlines where you don't expect to see, right? Like,
no.
Obviously very, very well known for her role on Cheers. I was first introduced to her on Star Trek as Lieutenant Savick, which we just did that commentary track a couple months ago.
Yeah. And then, like, Look Who's Talking, and just all sorts of things from when we were growing up.
I saw a tribute to her, speaking of Look Who's Talking, that was posted by John Travolta. just because of course they were in 3 of those movies together, and just really saying, we'll meet again, and expressing his fondness for her. And I was just thinking, like, he did the same thing a couple months ago when Olivia Newton-John died.
Right.
And I was just like, God, this poor guy, like
And
that's
his
a lot of,
wife not long ago. Yeah. Like,
I mean, he's lost a lot,
mm-hmm.
I also wanted to share a post by a friend of mine named Eric Peterson, who I went to high school with, who's an actor, and he co-starred on Kirstie Alley's sitcom in 2013 called Kirstie.
Mm-hmm.
It aired on TV Land, and he played her son on that show.
Oh.
He says Kirstie was a force of nature. She was hilarious, kind, generous, crazy, funny, talented, and most of all, she was a tidal wave of love. She loved people and animals. She used to walk on set every day and shout, "Good morning, everyone. How lucky are we to be working on a TV show? How great is this?" She was so good to me on that show. My other co-stars were major TV stars. It starred Rhea Perlman and Michael Richards also. And they could have easily left me out, but Kirstie always made sure that it was the 4 of us in every photo and interview. She fought for me to be on that show, and that show really started my career in TV. Kirstie was my friend, and I'm so sad she is gone. I hope she's enjoying heaven and surrounded by cuddly animals, great food, and laughs. Thank you, Kirstie, for everything. I love you. Rest easy, my friend.
Wow, how nice. And what a lovely portrait.
Yeah, yeah. And to his point about his career, I mean, Eric just starred for 2 seasons on Kevin Can F Himself.
Oh, really?
As Kevin, the Kevin of the title.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
definitely.
He's great, by the way. I on accident, I caught the pilot when they were doing like a marathon of it. And I found myself completely entranced by it. I watched like 3 episodes in a row.
Oh, it's a really good show.
Yeah. I intend to keep going with it.
It's so funny because that show is a play on Kevin Can Wait.
Right.
Which is the Kevin James sitcom that unceremoniously killed off the wife character in between seasons.
Right.
So the title is just a play on that, and I kind of love that show. The Kevin James show is probably like it's like gone and forgotten.
Yeah, right,
but
right.
This one is probably going to have a pretty strong afterlife.
Yeah, it inspired another work of art.
Yeah. So Kirstie Alley, she will be missed. Other headlines. Hey, there's some chaos at DC, Brian.
What? I'm that animated Star Trek William Shatner meme. Where he's just like, say what?
This is like an ongoing, like we just keep, we might as well play the Curb Your Enthusiasm music here.
This seriously, yeah, it needs its own sort of tragic theme, because as this was unfolding during the week, you and I were texting a little bit. It was like, we've got to talk. It's just so much every day.
So the news drops now for those of you who came in late. Last month, James Gunn, he of the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, which you just talked about a few minutes ago, left Marvel to become the head honcho of DC's movie division, DC Studios.
I think big deal. That's huge news.
It's a very big deal. And so he came in, and I think it's like a new coach. You come in and you look at who's on the bench, who's playing. What plays are we? Can you tell I don't do athletics? Because I'm straining this metaphor deeply.
But I just think also, like, just it's worth noting that, I mean, people have been saying for the longest time that DC needs its own Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
Right. And then how crazy that it's like kind of former Marvel guy,
That's right. But it makes sense if you're on the Warner Brothers corporate side, because.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And also it's interesting that it's a filmmaker.
It's a filmmaker. Yeah. So that all was going on. It was like, he's putting together a plan. We don't know what the plan is, but he's putting together. And then word drops earlier this week that they have kiboshed Wonder Woman 3 to be directed by Patty Jenkins. That is no longer moving forward.
Right.
And then the next thing you know, there's this cascade of other headlines that, like, oh, not only is that no longer moving forward, there's no longer going to be a Henry Cavill Man of Steel sequel. And this isn't happening. I mean, just the whole thing. And it got to be a little much. And James Gunn then sort of went on Twitter and was just like, "Hey, everybody, relax.
Right.
Some of what you're hearing is true, some of it isn't. But nobody knows anything right now, so everybody calm down," is what he essentially said.
Yeah.
But of course, that does not stop the wheels of gossip from turning, right? And it's funny because we're talking about Twitter. I was hearing about how in the weeks leading up to the sale to Elon Musk, Michael Lewis had been hanging around the offices of Twitter. Michael Lewis, if you don't know, he wrote Moneyball. He also wrote The Big Short.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, I want to read the book
Yeah.
that Michael Lewis is going to write about. Yeah, I want to watch the movie based on the book that Michael.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Right. And so now I'm kind of like, can Michael Lewis go to DC also and just hang out? Because
I keep thinking that when these sort of big shift moments happen, I'm like, I can't wait to read the book on this.
it's going to be an HBO Max miniseries. That'll be the
Yeah.
ironic bit about the behind the scenes of what's happening in DC. Now the specifically the Wonder Woman piece of this I found interesting.
Yeah.
Because there's been some follow on since that initial drop.
Yeah.
That seems like Wonder Woman 3 is less dead than maybe we thought, but it feels like the Patty Jenkins Wonder Woman 3 is probably extremely dead.
Yeah, like she apparently had a pitch and they rejected it.
Yes.
Right? So it doesn't mean that there's not going to be a Wonder Woman 3, but her current take is something they're not interested in. But what's significant is that Patty Jenkins seems, she's like, well, it's either my way or the highway. And so she may not be involved with it.
And apparently the death blow didn't even come from James Gunn and Peter Safran.
Right.
Apparently it was Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdy who got the script, and they're like, we have some concerns.
Yeah.
Now, I have no idea what is in the script. I know that she co-wrote it with Jeff Johns. They wrote Wonder Woman 1984. And I would say if this thing involved Steve Trevor coming back in some other mystical way.
Yeah, someone else's body.
Like Wonder Woman is in like a pottery class and she makes a Steve Trevor statue that comes to life or something. Like I don't know that was the case. But let's be honest. If that was the case, would you be surprised? I'm going to say no.
No. Yeah, that was such an interesting viewing experience because that was when, like 2020, when COVID was, like this keeping us in our homes. And it was wild that like one of the biggest movies of the year was being, sent directly to our homes on Christmas. Like it was like, what's happening? And I remember watching that movie with my parents on Christmas. And it's one of those few films where you have this moment where you're sort of fighting it for a minute, but then you're like, oh, this isn't good. Like you're like, no, that can't be. Hold on, let's keep going. But yeah, I remember being like, oh yeah. And to my sadness, I mean, I loved the first one, obviously. And I was like, oh, this isn't good. There's a lot of problems with this thing. And so I don't know. It makes you kind of wonder what was in her pitch for 3.
That's I mean, I have no idea, but definitely like Wonder Woman 1984, I remember watching it and I didn't dislike it. I just was kind of whatever about it. Right.
Yeah.
But it's just not a movie I've had any even remote compulsion to revisit. Right.
Same. I remember liking its tone. Like it.
Yes.
I liked its tone, and there were things about it that I enjoyed, but there was too many glaring things that sort of stopped me in my tracks as I was watching.
Well, the main thing, which I pointed out at the time, and it stayed with me, I'm like the device to bring Steve Trevor into the present was so cockamamie
and surprisingly disturbing.
Right.
Yeah.
And unnecessary, right? That's the thing, because like I said to you at the time, I was like, he could just appear and it would work within the the confines of the world the movie's created.
Yeah, like magic happened, and so like let's just push the magic a little further.
Like I don't remember if I said this when we recorded, but I was like, why not just have it like she pulled him out of existence just before that plane explodes?
Right.
And then he chooses at the end to go back and face his death. Like that's
right.
Brilliant. right?
Right.
Instead, yeah, it's like, oh, he's in this other person's body who's like a real person, and she's not seeing Chris Pine, she's seeing this other guy. It's like
Yeah.
5 steps that you don't need.
Yeah. He's like possessing a person who, against their will, is being possessed. And yeah.
I mean, it's like getting a ladder to climb into a building because you think the front door is locked, but it's actually open. You know, like
Yeah.
it's not a great metaphor, but I like it. I'm gonna go with it.
I like it. I like it.
It needs a rewrite. Maybe Patty Jenkins isn't the person to rewrite it. That's okay.
I don't know. I mean, but that's, I feel kind of bad
Listen,
for her. Like she had,
Brian,
yeah.
here's the thing, real quick. The apparently the back and forth was such that she was like, "You don't understand character arcs," and then
Yes.
she sent them a Wikipedia link to the character arcs page.
Yes. Yes.
Which I'm like, that is kind of amazing. I love that. I actually,
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of makes you wonder. I mean, and by the way, I don't have a side. I don't know who's right.
no,
You know?
I'm genuine. I'm like, here's like genuinely. I'm like, look, if Patty Jenkins is that committed and she's willing to walk away, then God bless. Like that, I'm no judgment at all.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I just love the eat shit aspect of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Very curious. Very curious. Like what she had in mind. But I mean, through this, which is kind of a bummer, honestly. I mean, I understand with Gunn. Yeah, like when you go in, like this isn't going to be a pretty process, you know. But
Right.
it's unfortunate how much of it then gets leaked, you know, and kind of have to have all of this stuff exposed. Then you have to answer to all these sorts of things, and people being like, "What?" Which, for example, learning that apparently there was going to be like another Michael Keaton Batman movie, you know, potentially with Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. Like, I like tore my clothes, you know?
Kind of a Batman Beyond scenario.
Yes. Yes.
But but to that point, James Gunn's not stupid, you know? Like,
yeah.
he knows the toys that are available.
Yeah.
And he's a fan, right? So
Yeah.
I think that he would, like, just using that thing that you cited as an example, supposedly it was in some stage of development and then the writer was told, hey, pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Well, I would imagine that at least, you know, for something like that, maybe they're just hitting pause on it. Maybe it's just wishful thinking on my part, but I feel like that's something that somebody like James Gunn recognized. Well, there is an audience for this, right?
So yeah, you know, we were sort of talking about this last night, and I mean, I don't envy him because it would be easy to go, okay, look, we've what did he use the word like fractious or whatever, right? Like, which is true. I mean, there's so many things going on over there, and it's gotten a little unwieldy. And when everyone says they want like a Kevin Feige over there, then you would think, okay, there's going to be this one overarching, cohesive sort of universe narrative, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, who's to say? I mean, who's to say that they need to do that exactly? Right. You know, right. But what they do need to do is get a few things in order. But what makes it so difficult, whatever they're going to do, is, as you and I were talking about off air, they got a lot of things that are working for them. You know, like you're saying, like Jason Momoa is Aquaman for starters, and like even Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman, and all these sort of things. But they also have like these weird, you know, I mean, they've got like their own separate Batman series going on. They got their own separate Joker series going on. They're trying to decide what is the DC cinematic universe at the moment. Is it this continuation of the Snyderverse thing? Is it going to kind of spin off into something else, which the Flash film was going to maybe possibly sort of deal with? Like, yeah, there's just so much possibility. And it's like, I mean, you could imagine a version where you sweep everything away and you try to start over, but that doesn't feel like a great idea. Cause like we were saying, there's many things that are kind of working, and it's amazing. Like you said, that they have an Aquaman that everybody loves is like, yeah, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Aquaman was a joke for like 100 years.
Yeah.
And then you get Jason Momoa in this movie, you get James Wan making it, and it makes more than $1 billion. Are you based on this piece that was in the Hollywood Reporter? It's like, oh yeah, they're just gonna this next Aquaman, that's it. And I'm like, that doesn't make any business sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
What corporation would risk that? Because who's to say that whatever next iteration of Aquaman,
Yeah, it's going to hit the same.
of course, right? So to me, this is my point. Yeah, you've got Jason Momoa as Aquaman. That seems to be working so far. You've got Gal Gadot, who seems to be appreciated in that role by the general populace. Well, it only makes sense to work with what you have. There was obviously this Henry Cavill, this guy.
I know.
He just left The Witcher.
I know.
He's like, all right, guys, I got this Superman thing. Sorry.
I know.
And that's like, hold on.
I know. And everybody was happy.
But this is my thing. I have a hard time believing that James Gunn does not recognize that. You know what I mean? I find it difficult to imagine that they would just broom everything and start over. Like, in fact, Gunn was on Twitter earlier today as we record this, because he was, as we record this, it's the 44th anniversary of the release of Superman the movie. So so Gunn tweeted about that. And somebody asked him if Superman would be coming back to the movies, and he responded, yes, of course, Superman is a huge priority, if not the biggest priority. And then somebody else says, I heard you don't like Henry Cavill. And he responded, false. So all of that is not to say that Cavill is a done deal. I just he is liked in the role.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at this point, I mean, it's been long enough that he's sort of identified with, like, that's the current version of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just thinking about it in terms of, like, look, the Peacemaker series is still going.
Right.
And that's a James Gunn joint, and that exists within the existing universe.
Right. Yeah, Aquaman shows up in that, right?
Aquaman is in there. Ezra Miller's Flash is in there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm just like, I think people are sort of getting ahead of their skis, is my point.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll sound like an idiot, when the plan is revealed. But I just feel like we know the Flash movie is coming out next year. We know Michael Keaton as Batman is going to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
We know
he damn well better.
He damn well better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Based on test screenings, people are like, he has a really good part in it. Like like people are reacting positively. So I'm like, well, all of these pieces are still out there.
Yeah.
So I find it difficult to be like, oh, just, shake the etch a sketch, get it back to zero. Here we go again.
Yeah.
Because that's not building any kind of long-term trust in the brand,
You know what would be interesting is if there was a special feature on the Flash Blu-ray where there's been so many reshoots based on what DC's plans are that continue to change over the years before this movie comes out. And it would be so interesting to see, the Michael Keaton moment between, characters saying, well, blah, 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 blah. And then seeing the new version where it's like, nope, actually it's Ben Affleck playing Batman saying, nope, actually it's this, blah, 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 blah. And then there's like, who knows what they're going to shoot now, based on Gunn's decisions that's going to replace that scene. I would love to see those scenes in a row as a timeline for how things have changed over at DC.
I mean, the potential upside is obviously substantial, which is why Gunn would take on a job like this. But what a goddamn pain in the ass.
Oh, I wouldn't want to be the one making these decisions. Although he does have a lot of goodwill, and I think people, even if he makes decisions that people don't like, I think he has the benefit of being liked, so people be like, well, all right, I'm sure it wasn't an easy decision, my friend, whereas, you can imagine some other person in that role and just getting raked over the coals.
Well, I love what he said ultimately. He says, "We know we're not going to make every single person happy every step of the way, but we can promise everything we do is done in the service of the story and in the service of the DC characters we know you cherish and we have cherished our whole lives."
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to wait and see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I definitely like you said, when you hear like, oh, this was something they were considering, do like an older Batman with Michael Keaton and Michelle Pfeiffer, maybe you're like, oh God, don't
I
tell
know.
me that.
Yeah. The fact that they were willing to get a little experimental,
That's right.
and it's just like, oh, the fact that we could lose those things. I mean, who would have ever thought that Michael Keaton Batman would be, there would be a moment where he could potentially be involved in so many different projects. I mean, that's like a dream come
and then
true.
and then they're all yanked away.
All yanked away, but they made it that far. They almost happened. I told you last night. It's like, can you imagine if all this sort of shenanigans had just been pushed by like 1 year so these movies could
Yep.
exist?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Ugh.
I mean, there is. We talked about it with the Batgirl. I mean, there is a movie sitting in a drawer forever that
I
has
know.
Michael Keaton as wearing a Batman costume,
Yep.
being Batman, but we're never going to see it.
Ugh. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it.
2022, and we are in December, Brian, of 2022, and we are a mere week away from the release of Avatar.
I know. It's wild. And seeing the reactions online. I mean, I know sometimes those early reactions are a little skewed because people are pretty excited just to have seen something early. But I must admit, I'm pretty happy to see everyone be like, we were wrong to doubt him.
I love that I sent you this where Sam Worthington, who's come out of witness protection. Where has this guy been, right? But he's out talking about the movie, and he talked about how James Cameron wrote an entire script for Avatar 1.5.
Yeah.
Just to fill in the backstory. Like, no intention of filming the movie.
Yeah.
It's just an entire script of a movie that does not exist so that Sam Worthington would know what Jake Sully's been up to.
It's amazing.
This guy is a mad genius.
I had mixed feelings about that. One, like, amazing. And like, that's the passion, right? And two, like, hatred. Cause like I struggle enough just to finish, episodes of, like these shows. And I'm just like, and he wrote a whole movie that, Worthington called Genius that will never be seen by human eyes. I'm like,
Right.
Oh, you bastard.
I love Zoe Saldana talked about how she pretended she lost it, but she just wanted to keep it, so she didn't like it's. Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I love that as Cameron is out there making the rounds, he's in full James Cameron mode, right?
Absolutely.
Like,
his interviews have been so entertaining.
he's just like, what are you gonna do? F you. Like this.
Yeah, totally.
He's like, I made Titanic and Avatar. F you.
Yeah. Or he's just like, I don't want to hear any crap about people, this movie being over 3 hours. If you got to go pee, go pee. You're like, all right.
But you're talking about going back and listening to our older episodes. I'd love to go back in. Somebody needs to do a supercut of all the times we've talked about Avatar 2 as this mythical thing that's never actually happening.
And what, to be fair, like 7 years ago or whatever, I mean, it was. Well, not to him, apparently, but I mean, or not apparently, obviously.
Obviously, yeah, he was writing his imaginary sequels to the actual movies.
Yeah, well, to requote those early reactions, never doubt the man.
Well, we will be back in our next episode talking about Avatar: The Way of Water.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long road getting from there to here.
I'm excited. I mean, that's the whole joke over the past couple of years, right? The whole lack of cultural relevancy for that movie. And I'm not going to disagree that I don't think it's something that people quote and all the time, like in the same way that they do, say, Star Wars or whatnot. But like, I've always been down for another James Cameron joint, so I am excited. Regardless, blue people or no, I'm excited.
Here's
So.
my question: if you notice, the logo is different.
Did you read his? He commented on that.
Is it in response to that sketch?
He was asked if he had seen the sketch, and he's like, "Yeah, of course I saw the sketch." And oh yeah, he's like, yeah, we of course we all saw it, And he said, I had no idea. He's like, whoever did that was like some sort of marketing firm, whatever. And he goes, I had no idea it was some off the shelf font,
That's so funny.
And he goes, but you know what? He goes, you know what though? I like it. I was like, good for you. He's like, I like that he doesn't even skirt it or push it away. He's like, you know what? Maybe it was, but I like it.
Well, whatever he did, it wasn't enough.
Exactly. I think then, if I'm remembering correctly, to sort of paraphrase what he said, he's now expecting there to be sequels, ancillary things, games, blah, 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 maybe even like spinoffs. And so he felt that they needed something that they owned, that was their own. And so, yeah, what they have now is their own, a font that resembles it, but it's their own font now.
It's tribal yet futuristic.
I watched that sketch, by the way, again, just because that came up.
I watch it all the time. Can I tell you?
It is so good. I mean, when you talk about the genius of sketch writing, right, where you have a notion that's funny, but figuring out how to turn it into a little story,
right?
And executing it. I mean, it's this whole like weird, almost like 70s thriller sort of vibe. And it's like, right. It's so perfectly executed. I mean, it is a brilliant little short. Yeah.
Well, and Ryan Gosling is just going for it.
Yes. I know what you did.
Oh, funny.
Oh, so good.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, I just realized we just went down this tangent. It's a sketch on SNL called Papyrus. Go to YouTube, type in SNL Papyrus. You'll thank us.
You will not regret it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty darn funny. And I do not regret having spent the last several hours chatting with you, Brian.
Yes, same. This was so nice. And I'm sorry, I can tell I'm at, sort of like 70% or whatever, but just getting to sit here and gab with you again and talk about all these sorts of things. Oh, this has been great.
Well, we will be back soon, hopefully sooner than the gap between this and our last episode, to talk about Avatar: The Way of Water. We also, I'm hoping, Brian, that we can squeak in one more movie commentary before the year is out.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that's something for everybody to look forward to. If you have any questions or comments for us, you can email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and message us there. If you're looking for me, you can find me on Twitter at Zacky's Corner. That's ZAKIS Corner. I'm also trying out other social media sites, but I'm at Zacky's Corner wherever. So
how's that going, by the way? I'm just kind of curious.
How's Twitter going? I have been blocking people. Like I'm just like anybody who slightly displeases me, I just block.
There's like a rise in people.
Yeah, I feel like just the general. There's a rise of shitty people who got unbanned.
Oh, sorry. Yes, right. I
remember at the end of Batman Begins when like Arkham explodes.
Yes, yeah.
That's kind of what happened here,
See, I'm reading about this stuff but not experiencing it, and yes, okay. Ugh. All right. Yeah. Well, how is it as you explore other services? I mean, you don't have to get into all of them if you don't want to, but what's that like? I mean, are you finding?
Nothing as yet matches Twitter. Nothing will, right?
Yeah.
It's just, when I look at Musk, the things he tweets, he'll tweet nonsense, but there will be like hundreds of people just sucking his nuts in the replies.
Right.
So I saw this tweet and it kind of sums up internet discourse. And the tweet is imagining Socrates like back in the day, right? And Socrates says, I am wiser than this man. He fancies he knows something, although he knows nothing. And then Daryl, Socrates' friend, says, F him up, Socrates.
Yeah.
It was just such a funny tweet.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. It feels crazy. And it's interesting seeing, some of these figures that I kind of follow a little bit, and just people trying to figure out like, look, I don't like being here anymore, but I don't know where to go.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing, right? So it's a lot of like Elon fanboys. Like, do you tell him, Elon? And I'm like, he doesn't know who you are. You are a statistic. Like, what are you getting out of this? This is a very weird parasocial relationship.
Right.
And so I will say, I think the last month or so has been very instructive as far as certainly my relationship with social media. But TBD. I mean, at this point, I'm there. I'm just like, look, I don't need to interact with a lot of this stuff, and I'm choosier about what I choose to engage about.
Sure.
That probably
helps,
Yeah. But regardless, you can find my writing at the San Francisco Chronicle. Got a couple fun pieces up there right now, including a review of the new FX series Kindred, which you can check out. I read my thoughts on that. That drops on Hulu this week.
Oh, and if I can shine a light on you here, you just won like 2 awards, right? Or like you won.
I did. Crazy.
Yeah. Can you tell us about that? Because that was awesome.
So the San Francisco Press Club has an annual awards ceremony for Greater Bay Area Journalism Awards. And so 2 of my articles had been submitted for consideration, one being a piece I wrote last year about the new Law and Order series, Organized Crime, about what the value or lack of value of a show like that in the aftermath of the George Floyd protests. And then I did another piece looking at the new Wonder Years series. And so one was nominated in the editorial category and one was nominated in the review category. I won first place in both, which is just an absolute delight. I mean, what else can you say,
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So you can, go look into the Chronicles archives and you can find both of those articles online as well.
Your award-winning journalism.
I get to say that now. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I'm an award-winning journalist. That's pretty cool. What about you, Brian? What do you got going on?
I've got puppy episodes dropping left and right. I just had all the holiday ones are dropping. The Thanksgiving one, Christmas one just came out, and those are on Disney, Disney Plus, and Disney Junior.
And I want to thank everybody once again for listening and for bearing with us through the gap. Brian is sounding a little better now, so hopefully we'll be back to close out the year.
Yeah, and thank you. I want to say thank you again, the people that actually checked in and made sure that everything was okay. I mean, truly, the listener engagement with this show has just risen so much in the past couple of years, and it means so much to both of us. I know. And Zachy shows me everything I miss on Twitter, and we engage behind the scenes, with people, and we talk about these letters that we're getting and just how much they mean to us. And so I can't say it enough. Just thank you so much for caring and checking in and for writing in, and I really appreciate it.
And I want to say, if you're one of the people who has not checked in, you're kind of a bad friend.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think you should reconsider your choices. But with that, that wraps up MovieFilm 259. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be back soon. Take care.
Welcome, friends, it's the MovieFilm Podcast. MovieFilm Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about the movies. MovieFilm Podcast on the radio.